The theme of our meditation this week is fall harvest. And I'd like to begin our meditation with a quote. And this quote is by Jacqueline Cooper. She says, "Take time to enjoy the season, for autumn's beauty and treasures are bountiful, and her harvest abundant." So we're almost in mid October, believe it or not. And if we spend some time out in nature and we look around and see what's around us, we can begin to see that the leaves are really beginning to turn. So they're changing from these vibrant greens to majestic purples and bright yellows. I've seen some beautiful warm oranges, and these leaves truly are a feast for the eyes. These colors can be so moving, and the beauty of this season truly is breathtaking. And this is also a time of harvesting. So, Mother Nature is offering us an abundance of fruits and vegetables. We're harvesting apples and squashes and pumpkins. In the autumn, there truly is an abundance of offerings, and Mother Nature is very generous this time of year. And we can look around us and tap into this energy of Mother Nature's generosity. And we can be generous this time of year as well. So, generosity is described as being kind and unselfish. It's truly the virtue of being liberal in giving. And sometimes when we think of giving, we think of giving gifts or material objects. But generosity can be so much more than this. We can be generous in spirit. We can be generous with our time. Or we can do this by offering a sense of kindness, caring, compassion toward another person. Or we can be generous by putting another person's needs before our own. And being generous really has wonderful benefits, not only for the other person, but also for ourselves. Many times we don't recognize or give ourselves credit for being generous. However, as human beings, we truly have this natural predisposition for goodness. Now, this is just part of our human nature. And when we're generous, there are tremendous benefits, not only for the receiver, but as I mentioned, also for ourselves. And I'd like to name a few of these now. Being generous really boosts our moral tendency and it increases our pro social behavior. And in addition to this, research has been done and has been shown that those who are generous have increased levels of happiness. And we can be deliberate about being generous, and we can be very creative in how we choose to give. So we can be generous by offering kindness to others, as I mentioned. This is a creative way to be generous. And this can be something as simple as holding the door open for someone, or maybe it's smiling at your neighbor, waving, wishing them a good morning, or saying hello. Another act of generosity that sometimes we don't think about is forgiveness. And again, this particular act of generosity really rewards both the giver and the receiver equally. So, being generous truly boosts positive emotions and increases our resilience. So, let's use Mother Nature as our inspiration to be generous this week, just as she's being generous in her offerings to us this autumn. Let's also deliberately choose to be generous toward others. And as you look at those around you in your life that you'd like to be generous with, it's helpful to remember to view them through the lens of common humanity. So remember that they're a person just like you with hopes and dreams, with aspirations and goals. Remembering that just like you, they wish to be happy and to be loved. And this recognition can really create a natural spring within us from which our generosity naturally flows. And so I'd like to now move us into our formal portion of the meditation this morning. So, taking some time to find a comfortable seat, whatever that might mean to you this morning, that could mean uncrossing your legs, gently placing the palms in the lap, and then just allowing the eyes to close or softening the gaze. As you sit here, perhaps you'd like to find a little extra length in the spine, reaching through the crown of the head. Maybe you'd like to lift the shoulders up and back and down behind you, opening up the chest and the heart space this morning. So, just doing whatever else it is that you need to settle into this posture. And as you do so, as you continue to settle in, maybe you become aware of the fact that the body is breathing. Maybe noticing how it's breathing all on its own with no need to do anything. The breath just breathes itself. This generosity of the body that provides us with this life sustaining force. And now just gently resting the awareness on the breath in the body, doing the very best that you can to stay with the natural rhythm of the breath. So following one breath in, one breath out, another breath in, and another breath out. And just continuing to follow the breath along in this very same way. Staying with each breath, breath by breath, and moment by moment. Just riding the waves of the natural breath cycle. And when the mind wanders off, which it will at some point, because that's just what our minds do, gently coming back to the breath once again, knowing that with each breath, we can begin again. Now, I invite you to think about generosity. So, reflecting on this word, what does this word mean to you? What does generosity mean to you? And as you reflect on this, just seeing what comes up. Now, maybe thinking back to a time, maybe it was when you were a child, a young adult, or even in the recent past, when you were a recipient of generosity. And so maybe someone offered you a gift. They maybe gave you a gift for a birthday, perhaps for a holiday. Or maybe it was a time when someone simply acted generously toward you. And it doesn't have to be monumental, it can be a small gesture or something thoughtful, an act of kindness. And so just recalling such an occurrence to mind, maybe many things are coming to you, and that's okay, but just choosing one. And once you have this in mind, begin to reflect back on this experience, recalling as many details as possible. Where were you? Who was there? What was said? What was done? So, just recalling as many details as possible. And now, reflecting on how it felt in the body. What were the feelings that arose? Maybe there was an excitement for receiving a gift. Or maybe there was this overwhelming sense of joy. Maybe there was a heartfelt sense of gratitude for kindness this other person offered you. So just exploring this now and holding in your awareness anything that arises. Perhaps savoring any positive physical sensations, or maybe savoring any positive emotions that arise. Just lingering with these good feelings for a moment and then letting them go in their own time. And now letting the experience that you've called to mind fade away into the background and reflecting on a time in your life when you were generous to someone else. So, recalling a time when you were generous towards someone else in your life. And maybe many things are coming to mind, but seeing if it's possible to just choose one occurrence, one experience. So settling on one. And once you've done this, call to mind as many details about this experience as possible. So, again, who was there? What was said? What was done? And as you continue to reflect on this particular experience, really calling to mind, reflecting on how it felt to be generous. How did it feel to be generous? Maybe reflecting on how it felt to see this other person's appreciation of your generosity. What was that like? And as you sit with this, perhaps you notice some physical feelings in the body or positive emotions that are arising. Maybe there's a felt sense of a warmth in the chest or the heart space. Maybe there's a bubbling of joy, a tingling. Maybe there's a sense of gratitude, appreciation for such an occurrence in your life. And if you are experiencing such positive feelings, giving yourself permission to savor them, enjoying them, lingering with them just a little bit. And when you're ready in your own time, letting them go, letting this experience, this reflection fade away into the background. And now reflecting on and thinking about others in relation to yourself. Choosing one person. Maybe this is a person who's near and dear to you, or perhaps it's somebody that you see on an occasion, your mail person, cashier, grocery store clerk. So just calling someone to mind and remembering that just as a small act of kindness or generosity uplifts you, imagine how it would make this person feel. How would a small act of kindness or a generosity make this person feel? And now reflecting on your own deepest wishes, your deepest desires. As human beings, we wish to be happy, to be loved, to belong, to matter, to be seen, to be heard. And now imagining this person holds these same values dear. Imagine this person has these same wants, these same desires, just like you. We have this universal wish to be loved, to be seen, to belong. And this can be the lens through which we offer our generosity. This can create a natural spring from which we are just generous, from which we wish to offer to others an act of kindness, sense of warmth, compassion, caring. And as we continue to offer our generosity to others, and to do this through the lens of common humanity, it can become our natural tendency in day to day life. And now, just gently coming back to the breath in the body, following the natural breath cycle once again. And I'm going to read a poem by Alberto Rios, When Giving is All We Have. One river gives its journey to the next. We give because someone gave to us. We give because nobody gave to us. We give because giving has changed us. We give because giving could have changed us. We have been better for it. We have been wounded by it. Giving has many faces. It is loud and quiet, big though small, diamond and wood nails. Its story is old, the plot worn and the pages too. But we read this book anyway, over and over again. Giving is first and every time, hand to hand, mine to yours, yours to mine. You gave me blue, and I gave you yellow. Together, we are simple green. You gave me what you did not have, and I gave you what I had to give. Together, we made something greater from the difference. So just allowing those words to land if they resonate with you. And in a moment, I will ring the bell, which will conclude our formal portion of the meditation this morning. And just seeing if it's possible to stay with the sound as it enters your ears. And just beginning to wiggle fingers and toes, bringing some slight movements back into the body, allowing the gaze to lift if the eyes had been closed. And I want to take an opportunity to say thank you for your practice this morning. It's truly lovely to be here with each and every one of you, and feels like a gift. Your being here feels like a generosity to me. And so I just wanted to offer that and say thank you. I do have an invitation for you this week. And my invitation for you this week is to deliberately offer your generosity to someone in your life. This can be someone you know very well, or it can be a stranger. It could be the grocery store clerk or the cashier at the convenience store, right? And it can be a small gesture, such as opening the door for a stranger, or maybe it's offering your neighbor a smile. Maybe it's bringing your coworker a cup of coffee or sending a thinking of you note to a dear friend you haven't spoken to in a while. So I invite you to pick something and deliberately choose to do it. And as you do this, begin to really notice how it is that you feel. Notice the physical sensations that arise, sense into the emotions that you feel. And as you notice them, maybe savoring these positive feelings if positive feelings do arise. Lingering with this experience just a little bit and then letting it go in its own time. So I wish you well this week. Be well, everyone. Take good care. And we look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday. Bye, everyone.